Recently, I've been having a lot of dreams, dreams that I've not really expected, dreams that happened, all of a sudden. It was very sudden when I started having these specific dreams, and they were very repetitive as well. It wasn't a one-off dream. First time I had this dream, I thought, this was a weird dream, but I'm sure it's just a dream and it'll go away after that. But I kept having this dream. It's probably about the fifth or sixth time I've had this dream in the past 3 to 4 weeks. Um, and every single time the dream is exact to what the previous dream was. So there was no change in the dream. It was literally the same thing every single time. And what the dream was is me walking down a path, no specific path, it's just a straight road. And it's covered with darkness, absolute darkness. It's pitch black, can't see anything, I just know that I'm on this road for some reason. And as I walk, a light comes out to me and guides me through. And at the end of this light, as I'm looking towards this light that's guiding me, there's a hand basically leading me towards this light, and I'm walking down this path, and everywhere around me is dark, pitch black, can't see anything. All I see is hands trying to get onto this light, and it's just pitch black. That's all I could see. And as I'm walking, something tells me to bring these hands that are trying to reach into this light towards the light. And as I'm going, every time there's a hand, I grab the hand and I pull it into the light. Nothing happens in the dream, but in my head, I know I saved someone in a way. This dream, like by me bringing these people in, I'm basically, it's like cleansing souls in a way. And, this has been happening for a while now. At the end of the dream, there is no end. I kind of just wake up, but with a good feeling that I saved a lot of people. Recently, it's a bit weird for me because I'm not much of a book reader. I've never been into reading books. I know how to read, but I just never chose to read. And I've been trying to look for a book to read recently. And I thought, I looked at all these famous books about business, about life, and there was a lot of good options. But then the whole conflict happened with, Israel and Palestine. I know that's been happening for about 70 years plus. But as we know, since October the 7th, I believe, the mainstream media picked it up like crazy. Just looking at the way the world's going, with gender identity, all the transgenderism, which, I'm not against, but the way it's being pushed down the throat of children in schools, I feel like the world is in a very lost place at the moment. After analyzing all that and looking at where the world is, where I am in my life, and having this dream repetitively, which must be some sort of sign to me, I'll be stupid to ignore it. I felt like I had a calling to come back to religion and to do some more research. I've been born into a Muslim household. My mum and dad were both strict Muslims as a child, but I've not really been shown, I've been taught what to do and what not to do. For example, don't eat pork, don't do this, don't do that. But I've actually never read a Quran. So I've never actually been given a Quran to read. So I've now decided, with these dreams I keep having, I want to get back in touch with religion. I want to make my own mind up on religion. I want to read the Quran. I want to listen to it, be open-minded, try to understand it deeper. With you guys' help in the comment section, because obviously it's my first time reading it. I'm sure you guys will have a lot to correct me on, or if I have an opinion on something, you guys could put your opinion on it. Or if I understand something incorrectly, maybe you guys can correct me. But yeah, I feel like with the sign I've had and with the YouTube channel, the way the YouTube channel is going as well, it's starting to pick up some good traction. We're getting a lot of viewers on a concurrent basis now. And I just feel like it'll be such a waste of a platform to use it without the trying to help others. Like I said, the world is in a very lost place at the moment. And I do believe where the mainstream media is taking us with the whole conflict with wars, all the disagreements, all the gender identity, all the, madness, shall I say, that's happening, high crime rates in all the biggest cities around the world. I think it's time where religion really needs to step in. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, you have to be a Muslim, or you have to be, this religion versus that religion. That's not how I look at religion. I view it as right now, religion as a whole around the whole world is just needed, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Buddhism, whether it's, Islam, whatever religion it is. I feel like religion at the moment is just a very good thing and needs to come in place. Today, I will be reading the Quran for the first time. It is obviously a English translation because I cannot read Arabic, even though I am Arab, born and bred in London. This Meccan chapter, which is recited a total of 17 times in the 5 daily prayers, serves as the cornerstone of the Quran, and it is customary to say Amin or Aman at the end. It sums up the relationship between the Creator and his creation, God's undisputed authority in this world and the hereafter, and humanity's constant dependence on him for guidance and assistance. It identifies God as the Lord of all worlds, i.e., everything from animals and plants to humans and even angels. The underlying theme is to acknowledge that he is the only God worthy of worship, a simple truth which the disbelievers fail to grasp. All fundamental principles encapsulated in this chapter are spelled out in the rest of the Quran. See, I do like that straight away. Me, although I have been a bit lost with religion in, the last couple of years, the thought of God to me is there should be one God that's worshipped. That's how I look at God, this almighty power. That's how I look at God. So, this obviously reflects my mindset of what a God should be. Prayer for guidance. So this is something I'm going to read here. In the name of God, the most compassionate, most merciful, all praises for God, Lord of all the worlds, the most compassionate, most merciful, master of the day of judgment. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. Guide us along the straight path, similar to my dream. The path of those you have been blessed, not those you are displeased with, or those who are astray. Which, to be honest, if I look at my past, I would say I was definitely astray. For the last, I've only got my act together, not with religion, but with, the way I am in life, being nice to people, being kind, being generous, supporting others all the time. Maybe the last 4 or 5 years. Before that, I'm turning 30 in March. From like 18 to 25, I would say I was definitely astray, 100%. No doubt about it. Chapter 2, the cow. This Medellin chapter, which takes its name from the story of the cow in verse 67-73, details the main concept of the previous chapter, with emphasis on the qualities of the believers, disbelievers, and hypocrites, God's power to create and resurrect, the anatomy of Satan towards Adam and his descendants, as well as God's covenant with Moses and the children of Israel. Several rulings are given in regards to marital relationships, bequest, jihad, fasting, pilgrimage, donations, debts, and interest. Unlike the next chapter, which focuses on the Christian perception of Jesus, this chapter dedicates a sizable portion to Jewish attitudes and practices. Okay, that's interesting. Qualities of the believers. This is the book. There's no doubt about it. A guide for those mindful of God, who believe in the unseen established prayer and donate from what we have provided for them, and who believe in what has been revealed to you, O Prophet, and what has revealed before you, and have sure faith in the hereafter. It is they who are truly guided by their Lord, and it is they who will be successful. Very interesting. So that's given out as believing in God, good things will happen to you. That's what I get of that. Qualities of the disbelievers. This is going to be interesting. As for those who persist in disbelief, it is the same whether you warn them or not. They will never believe. God has sealed their hearts and their hearing. Wow. And their sight is covered. They will suffer a tremendous punishment. Not going to lie to you, that actually hits home quite well. When I was about 23, 24, up until 25, like I said previously, I was definitely on a different path in life. I did things, I didn't even think about my actions. I just, whatever kind of came to mind, whether it's the way I make money, the way I do things, the way I speak to people, I just didn't care. I never thought of God. I never thought, oh, by me taking this action, how is this going to reflect to God in any way or me as a person? I just would action things. And, I've had talks with people who are deep in Christianity, deep in Islam, and my ears were closed to them. Not gonna lie to you, like they used to try speech me, try lecture me, or come in one ear out the other. I would never want to listen to them. And as people can say, it's probably my demons, my inner demons, blocking it out. And that's what that said is they will never hear, they will never be open. God has sealed their hearts to not listen and not hear it because they don't want to hear it. And that's what I got from that, and that really hits home with me because if I'm honest, I see myself in that a lot. Years ago, I'm a different person now. I'm a lot more positive. I've done a lot for charities. I've helped people whenever I can. And the more I've kind of transitioned my life into that lifestyle in the positive way, the more I want to hear about God, and the more my ears are open, and maybe that's God taken off this seal due to my positive actions for the last 4 or 5 years consistently. It's not a thing where I've done good for a weekend and I've gone back. I've really turned my life around to what it was. And, maybe that's God's reward to me is all of a sudden, out of the blue, I want to read books, which I can never, ever, ever see myself reading books. Couple years ago, I just hate reading books. And then of all books to lead me towards was the Quran. It's maybe that's a sign in itself. That's how I look at it. Qualities of the hypocrites. And there are some who say, we believe in God and the last day, yet they are not true believers. They seek to deceive God and the believers, yet they only deceive themselves, but they fail to perceive. There is sickness in their hearts, and God only lets their sickness increase. Wow. They will suffer a painful punishment for their lies. When they are told, do not spread corruption in the land, they reply, we are only peacemakers. Indeed, it is they who are the corruptors, but they fail to perceive it. And when they are told, believe as others believe, they reply, will we believe as the fools believe? Basically saying they're on a pedestal over others and their way of thinking is the right way. And they truly believe they're doing good when they're actually the ones corrupting. It's interesting. Indeed, it is they who are fools, but they do not know. When they meet the believers, they say, we believe. But when alone with their evil associates, they say, we are definitely with you. We are only mocking. God will throw their mockery back at them, leaving them to continue wandering blindly in their defiance. They are the ones who trade guidance for misguidance, but this trade is profitless and they are not rightly guided. Very, very, very good perspective of looking at things. What I took of that last part that I read is you can pretend in your head, you can tell yourself you're the way you're living is the right way and the way you spread your message is the right way. But if it's not the actual right way, no matter what you believe, your fakeness in a way, without even though you're not realizing you're being fake, but your fakeness, will be called out for what it is. You can't trick to be doing things the right way when you're not. It's either you're doing it or you're not. So that's what I got of that last section. The truth will always prevail, basically, even if you truly believe you're in the right. If you're not in the right, the truth will always prevail and come out, and you will be shunned for believing in that way.